As I was about to cross the road from the Helsirasi, then to the Nyao Stadium roundabout, for those who know Nairobi, then before there is an in-between place where people stand so that they can cross the road that is the one that vehicles coming from Mombasa Road. So when I was at that point, remember, in myself, I've told myself, I am demoted. I am a nobody. I am talking to myself in terms of, psychologically inside there, not verbally, but it is a self-talk. Like I'm like, you're nobody. You cannot tell anybody to do something. And then I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to sleep. I was just lost. I had lost a lot of weight. Then this day, when I'm just crossing, I'm in between there, I'm standing, and then I just collapsed. When you hear the word stress, in some cases, some people block. They don't want to hear about stress because they say stress is all around us. They say everybody is stressed. I agree with them to some extent. Why? Because we have two types of stress. One is the good stress. We call it eustress. The other one is the bad stress, and we call it distress. Distress has different levels also, because it makes us, it is the point when we are distressed, now we have many other things that are coming along our way, along our lives, and it affects our health. Remember, this show talks about our health. Talk about you and I and our health, and we say, this Health Now show is your health friend. Health friend mentally, and that is what we want to talk about today on the show. I want to talk about stress at the workplace. And I have categorized workplaces because we have a range of areas that we can talk about stress. Some of it is hidden. Some of the stressors are hidden. We don't, most of the time, realize that this is a stressor at my workplace or where I am, getting some income, and I continue getting stressed. And what are those levels of stress? We're going to look at that. The categories I want us to look into, one is the formal employment. There are a lot of stressors, as we are going to see. Secondly, we have the business. We have people in business, and they also go through a lot of stress. We have the health sector. There is a lot of stress. We have the home front, where we have the housewives or the partner, the husband or the spouse, taking up the home chores in some situations. And then the last one is talking about the clergy. In most cases, we don't consider the clergy as people who get stressed. And that's why I've raised it like that, so that in each sector, I may not have gone to specific sectors, because when we look at our forces, our police force, our army, there is a lot of stress, but I may not go into all that, because when we talk about stress at workplace, it has a lot of things, a lot of stressors. And as I said, we all need some extent, some degree of stress. Why? So that we can be able to wake up in the morning, with some goal in mind. We want to do something, And for us to be able to do that, it calls for some stress, some focus, some, some things to make us look forward to doing it. Like, yes, I want to achieve this today. So a level of stress. That is a positive kind of stress. And that is what I'm calling the eustress. There is also another area that brings that positive stress or good stress or the eustress. And that is, you're planning to get married, you've gotten a promotion at job or at workplace, and then you're like, yeah, you're stressed, but the outcome is a good one. So we are looking at those. But today I want to concentrate more on the bad stress, the distress, what we're calling the stress. And I want to look at some of the stressors, some we may know, some we may not have thought about at the workplace. And some of those stressors are very, very hidden, as I started by saying. And that's why I want to say the hidden stressors at the workplace and how we can be able to identify them and get help. One of the greatest stressors at the workplace is for the new entrants, the people who are employed. Whatever job that you're doing, but you've gotten that job, you have now gone your first day to this office, and you're being orientated, you're being shown this is department A, this is department B, and this is where you are supposed to sit, and this is the kind of work that you are going to start doing. In some of those cases, in some of those places, you are excited, you are getting a new job, you've gotten a job, in fact, you have even reported, and probably the remuneration package is good, and you're looking forward to sitting behind that desk or whatever kind of work that you're doing, technical work, or clerical work, or whatever else that you're doing. You're just looking forward to starting doing it. And then you get into an environment where there are other people, and you are new to this place. Some of the people that you get, your expectations are very high. You're thinking that everybody will receive you, everybody will be positive, that we have a new entrant. Some people will receive you positively, other people may not. And you start feeling, experiencing some of resistance, that you are not able to adjust to the situation because the people around you are not receptive. Some even bully you. They'll give you a lot of work, and sometimes they're not even supposed to be delegating some of their work to you. They give you that work. They force you to do things that you are not supposed to do. And because you're new, you do not know what goes on here. You go home, and at the end of the day, you're just exhausted. You have been made to do work that is not yours. You felt that I was not received well, and those kind of things are going on in your mind. And now this is the new norm for you. The new normal for you. You get every day, you get to wake up and get to get these people. Some may talk behind your back as a new person. And that is a major cause of stress at the workplace. The buildings, the desks, and every other equipment that you're using may be welcoming, may be there, but the people that you're finding. The other thing that stress people at the workplace are the promotions. You may stay for a long time. Yes, you got this job, and you're expecting after a while, after some years or months, you move to the next group or job group or scale, and it doesn't come. And then you realize that you are delayed, and you expected with a rise, with a promotion, there is a pay rise. And then you continue on, and you're telling yourself, now I am looking forward to a promotion. Lo and behold, you find that you have stayed in one scale or one job group for a very long time. And that keeps disturbing somebody. Then you realize that probably the people you are employed with in other organizations, in other public offices, they have moved, and it disturbs you because for you are stagnant. You are not moving, and then probably you are asking yourself, why am I not being promoted? And probably your work output is very good, your performance is very good, but you realize that that becomes a stressor. You keep on thinking, because when you keep on thinking about something that is bringing a lot of thoughts, negative thoughts in you, that becomes a major stressor for you. Another area that people in formal employment experience, and it challenges them, it is the transfers. Transfers. When you're transferred frequently to different places, sometimes with reasons, other times without reasons, or it's just a matter of moving you probably from department A to department B, or from county A to county B, or organization A to such kind of transfers. And if they are frequent, they make you feel that you cannot show or prove what you're doing. It becomes very difficult for you to perform in that station where you are, or in that environment or that department where you are, and then you're kind of telling yourself, very soon I'm going to be transferred to a different organization. I mean, a different department, a different county, a different station, and then you realize you are not giving the best or the optimal that you can be able to perform. Why? Because you're feeling that, after all, I'll not be here for long. So I will not be, it's like you're not putting so much effort, and this is disturbing you. That is another stressor at the place of work. The other one is demotions. Demotions may not necessarily mean you have moved from grade A, grade B, any grade that you are, or like any scale, to a lower one. It may not necessarily be that. It may be an emotional kind of demotion. For example, I want to share my own example. In 2018, I was working in a particular office where I had quite a lot of privileges, a lot of voice, and I was able to. I was in a position where I was feeling I am okay, I am comfortable in terms of my work, in terms of the relations that I'm having with people, and at that particular time, in 2018, I was transferred from the office where I was with the secretaries and with the things that you'd love to have in an office, and then I was taken to a far-flung county, and that disoriented me. I was so stressed. One, I felt that I was demoted, not necessarily with money. The salary did not change, but I was demoted in terms of, what am I telling myself? My privileges, my position in terms of the feeling of that office. Now I have no face. I cannot tell anyone anything because I'm no longer holding that office. I am not with my family because I was taken to a very far county. And yes, I was still in charge of the county, but I was very far from my family. It made me feel that even if the salary was not different, I was demoted. And were it not that I had done psychology, had done counseling, and I knew how to gauge myself, it would have been very bad. Because at the home front, at the same time, I was having a spouse who was very sick, who had gone through 2 operations, and I was doing a lot of care taking for him. And at this point now, I'm moved from home to a different places, to a different place, the different county. And I was also telling myself, at my age, in my 50s, I was feeling that I needed not to go very far from my family. But that time, I just felt that I am demoted. I remember one incident where there was some work that we were doing in 2019, and I was supposed to go and supervise all the way from Nairobi to Kisumu. And then I requested somebody, because I had this sick person, spouse, I requested whether I could swap. Remember, I had said there was a time I had a voice. I could request somebody and they would just accept. But this time, because they knew I didn't have any more clout, I didn't have any more power, I didn't have any more influence, the person refused. And I had to look for another person at night, because I was supposed to travel the following morning and go and, work in Kisumu for a week. And then I was like, how do I leave somebody, my spouse who was in hospital, and I was supposed to go and discharge him. And again, this is work. So I had to look for somebody at night, 10 p.m. at night. Finally I got somebody who accepted to sit in, and we swap, so that he went to Kisumu and I remained in Nairobi. So I was able to take other work. So that thing hit me and told me, while it not, when I was in the position, in that seat, I would request and it would be done. But this time the person knows that you have no power. You are, to say this in quote, you are nobody, because you can't tell me anything at this point. And actually that was a major stressor. It really stressed me. I remember it became worse. It became very, very bad. The way the young people say, it was worse. It was really serious. And I remember one time I was now going to take my things so that I can go to the next station that I was supposed to go. And remember, I'm going to the office where I was saying to pick my things, pack them, and go to the next place where I was supposed to go. That was in Nanyuki, all the way to Nanyuki. So what I did, I came from my place where I stay in Kiambu, and then I went to town, took public transport, and then as I was about to cross the road from the Helsirasi, then to the Nyao Stadium roundabout, for those who know Nairobi, then before there is an in-between place where people stand so that they can cross the road that is the one that vehicles coming from Mombasa Road. So when I was at that point, remember, in myself, I've told myself, I am demoted. I am a nobody. I am talking to myself in terms of, psychologically inside there, not verbally, but it is a self-talk. Like I'm like, you're nobody. You cannot tell anybody to do something. And then I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to sleep. I was just lost. I had lost a lot of weight. Then this day, when I'm just crossing, I'm in between there, I'm standing, and then I just collapsed. Yeah, I collapsed. And there was a policewoman who was controlling traffic, and then some two ladies came, and then one of them just asked me, do you take any medication? I said, no. Then said, have you taken tea? I said, no, because I wasn't able to eat. I was feeling, for me, when I'm stressed, I don't eat. When I'm not stressed, that's the time I eat. And for that time, I was so stressed, so I wasn't eating. So I stayed on the floor for quite some time. I remember this a vehicle, a lady who was driving a vehicle came and parked just next to where I was on the floor. on the ground. And then that time I had started coming to consciousness, regaining my consciousness. And this lady just asked me, "Where are you going?" I just muttered something, and I said I was going to this office. And then somehow I'm still seated on the floor at this point. Then I said, "It's okay." These two ladies who were studying, who had asked me about whether I was taking any medication, they didn't go. They just stood there and stayed there. Then the policewoman came and again said they tried to lift me. They came, lifted me, and I couldn't be able to stand properly. So I went back I still sat. I stayed for a while, and then they came back again. They hadn't left, so they lifted me again. So I was able to stand a bit. Then one of them held me on this side, and this other one on this other side, and then we crossed the road. So they asked me where I was going. I told them the office where I was going. But at that time, I had felt that I've regained some strength. So I just told them, let me just go to the office. Nikishindwa, nitaketi, and then I'll wake up and go. So I went to the office, and then, of course, I just asked them to give me a cup of tea, and I was given. I took the tea and I packed, and then I organized how my luggage was to go to town and back to my home. That experience really taught me that transfers can bring other children, other related issues that will affect you, because my collapsing was not directly probably related to the transfer, but it was indirectly related to a transfer. I would not have thought that it would cause me such kind of pain. So when I just so now when I regain myself, my consciousness, and I'm able to, think, I just told myself this was due to the demotion, the self-talk, the what I'm telling myself, the issues that I'm dealing with myself, and I'm telling myself this is demotion. If I was not demoted, if I was not going through this would not have happened to me, and that is a major stressor, demotion. Sometimes when you're given, you are at a place of work, and instead of being given work that is appropriate for you, you are not given work. So it's like other people are being given work, but yourself, you're just there. I've worked in several offices in Kenya and many other places, and I've seen that there are people who you find that instead of being given work, not that they can't perform, but because of some relations that are there within the workplace, this person is not given the work to do, and they sit in the office whole day. When you are underutilized, whether it is an office, whether it is a business, whether it is whatever environment of work that you are at, and the work that you are supposed to do every day when you come and you're looking forward to doing something, and you find that there is no work. There is stress that comes from the underutilization or lack of doing work. So you're just sitting there, you're just waiting for nothing, because there's nothing coming your way. There's a friend I know was working somewhere in an office and was never given work for a whole year. The person was never given any work. So what he decided to do was to write a notice, the way you do in offices, like closed or open. So when he would get to the office in the morning, because he had to go to work, but there's no work, he would put closed, stay there inside there, does his own work, and then at 5, he put the open and then stay for like 30 minutes and then he goes home. So that was a routine for a year. And that person became very, very stressed. Is a friend of mine, became very stressed and went to hospital, was getting sick, was not knowing what the issue was. And then when he went, he was told, you are stressed. You have very high level of stress. And then he was asking the doctors, I'm not stressed. Why am I stressed and I don't have work that is making me stressed? But the fact that you don't have work, you are underutilized, you feel you can do better, you can do something, but you're not given that work, then that becomes, you're so idle. You're just there. Your self-esteem goes very low because you're like, I can't be trusted for doing something. I can't be given work to do. I have these qualifications, I have these skills, but you're not being utilized. That underutilization is a stressor. And some people may not realize, because like my friend now did not know that that was causing him stress. And he only came to realize that it was stress when the doctors told him that, because he was getting sick all the time. The other one is overwhelming jobs. You have so much. You have deadlines to meet. You have performance to achieve. You have this and the other. And all that, it is on one person. You probably have no skills of delegating the job, but your supervisor gives you work, day in, day out. My daughter tells me, when somebody is so overwhelmed, instead of saying overwhelmed, she just tells me, you are whelmed. Just making fun of it. But some people are overwhelmed by the kind of assignments, the kind of tasks that you're given. You are not able to say, I'm not able to do all this, and the deadlines. And you are not able to say that. Or your place of work, no, it's not an option. And it happens sometimes. Because the person who is your supervisor is also supervised by somebody else and somebody else. So it is a chain. So that chain must be fulfilled. So that being overwhelmed is another area that stress many people, and they may not know. So when you go home, you are like, I'm so tired every day. And then the people around you will keep on asking you, Kwani, you're the only one who works. But it's because your work environment is, you are biting more than you can handle, and your body is saying, no. It's saying, I'm not able to handle this. I'm not able to take this. I'm not able to take this anymore. I'm going to break down. But who is there to tell you stop or take a break or listen to your body? Nobody is telling you that, because again, there is that human nature that you feel you want to achieve, you want to perform, you want praise, you want all this. And behind the scenes, that is a stressor. It is affecting your body. You realize that sometimes you are getting sick, you are not, or you don't have the urge to go to work as much as you know you are performing, because your body is saying, stop, you're feeling sick, stop and think about me. That is your body speaking to you. Another stressor that is common that comes there is that sometimes you lose a colleague. Probably sometimes a colleague is very sick, or this colleague is, dies. And then the people that are working with this person really goes through a loss because of the relationships that were there, work relationships that were there. Some even have the families, they know one another, and it is like a family. So when one of them dies, it becomes a major stressor. The loss of a loved one or a colleague becomes a stressor at the workplace. And some of us, we ignore losses of jobs, losses of, losses of loved ones or colleagues that we are with. And, some ignore the impact it has and they don't even go to seek help. This issue of a colleague dying, a colleague being sacked, a colleague probably the contract not being renewed, and especially those that are in non-government organizations and or private companies and firms, and probably they work in contracts and their contracts are not renewed. So when that person goes, it's a loss of relationship, it's a loss of confidence, it's a loss of support in different ways. So this affects the people who are left. And no one to them, if they are not realizing this, that it affects them. Sometimes they say, okay, we went for the burial, we supported the family. Some of us wake up very early, probably at 4, because of the traveling that sometimes we have to do, commuting from one county to another, and every morning. So they have to be at their work desks at 8 or even before, some at 7. And then go back home later after 10. So most of the time, because of the work that it's so much at their workplaces, they get home late. Even issues of eating, they don't have enough time, then they need to sleep and prepare to wake up very early. So most of the time, we are using with the people that we are working with. And the workplace, I usually tell people that I work with, I tell them, we need to be good colleagues as we work, because this is the place where we spend most of our time. We may not be necessarily very close friends or good friends, but let us be colleagues so that we can be able to support one another and be able to work and relieve some of these tensions and a lot of, some of these conflicts and all that, so that we can be able to perform and achieve our goals at the place of work. Another stressor that is very common at workplaces is the personality. There are those people who are introverts. I'm one of them. We like our space. We love our spaces. We love to work behind the scenes. We don't like to be so much into the limelight. That is noise for us. There is a lot that we can perform so much behind the scenes. And then, in this place of work, they've not done psychometrics. They've not done, assessed me so that they placed me the right place. So they placed me at a customer care service desk, where I'm having so many people, talking to so many people coming with many issues, and I'm seated there, and I'm like, as an introverted person, I'm like, all that is too much. So when a workplace have not realized my personality, where I can perform best, whether at the front or at the back end, then I will stress, I will struggle to achieve, to perform, but I'll be struggling so much within and without, so that I want to perform. I want to show my supervisor I'm doing good, but inside me, I'm hurting. There are those that are also extroverted, and then you are given to work behind the desk. And they are like, no, they want to push their seat near the door so that they can be seeing people as they pass, and they say, hello, hello, and then talk to them. Oh, how are you? How are you, doing today? They're those people who are so outgoing, so extroverted. And then when you place them the wrong places in terms of like where they can perform best, then that again stresses them, because they'll keep on moving. They will say, any opportunity that I'll get to be out there is where I want. And because they still want to keep the job, you find that they are not performing as they ought to. There are others in the personality category that are fast-paced. People who do things very fast. They want to finish that work very, very fast. And some of those are not able to work with others because they want to fast-paced, tufanye hiyo tumalize. And I've had sometimes where I work, sometimes to sort issues of somebody saying, I don't want to work with so-and-so because so-and-so works so slowly because they don't realize that we are so different even the way we perform. And then the other one says, you work too fast, you make a lot of mistakes. So you need to tone down, you need to go slow. But that is about their personalities. They need to be, if that is the case, that they're making a lot of mistakes, their supervisors, it needs to just sit with them and understand them and probably pace them, give them work that will take this time so that you can be able to achieve. Or even before you hand in your work, can you go back to it and check whether it is okay so that you don't make those many mistakes. So the fast-paced people can get stressed. The slow-paced people can also get stressed, depending on where they have been given to work. Another common stressor is where you find that junior officers are assigning tasks, ama duties, ama responsibilities, assignments to their seniors. And then they expect them to do what they are telling them. So kind of the roles and responsibilities are swapped. So the supervised is supervising, and the supervisor is being supervised by a junior officer. That again really affects the person who is supposed to be supervising, but now is the one that is being supervised. Or decisions are made by junior officers who are not, in essence, supposed to be the ones making those decisions, but because there is some overlaps of responsibilities, or the person who is in charge is not able to probably to trust the person the person who ought to be supervising the others, or whatever reason it may be, but you find that the roles are swapped. The roles are not being taken the way they are supposed to be taken, and there is a lot of low self-esteem, there's a lot of self-pity, there's a lot of oi on yourself, on like, is this the way, this is what I will be coming to do. And then there's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know what you'll be decided tomorrow, what you'll be told tomorrow, what you'll be told to do. You are told to probably wake up today, go to this station or to this department and do this and do the other. You can't say no because you're at the place of work and this person has influence. And then you're just torn between, your work and the supervisor. And then the supervisor who is not supposed to be your supervisor, yet the person is a supervisor. The other thing, and there are quite a number of stressors at our workplaces. This officer, this worker, this person who is doing the job is also sometimes a spouse, a husband, a wife, and has children, have families, extended families, and they have responsibilities at home. And then when sometimes this person who is not supposed to be supervising them tells them things, they tell them sometimes with some contempt, they are not respecting them, and this creates a lot of struggle, a lot of stress, a lot of self-pity, a lot of pain, that I am so and so, I am respected somewhere. When I go home, I am a mother. When I go home, I am a husband. I am a father. I am a brother. I am somebody. I am somebody in my church. I am a responsible member of the community. And here I'm being tossed here and the other. So that again brings a lot of stress. There are those people that are called perfectionists. They want to do their things and they put them the way they are. If they arrange their books on the table or their pens on the table or the way they want their table to be, and you come and tilt it a bit like this, they will throw all the words that they would want to do. They will hit the roof. They will shout. They will cause drama. They will ask who was there and a lot of things. And that causes a lot of stress because they don't have room for mistakes. They don't have room that they can do something that is not going to, they don't expect you to make any mistake. And that causes a lot of stress. Many times at the places of work, people have comparisons. We are blessed differently. We are gifted differently. And some people do things, work in the office, and probably they have other skills that they're utilizing, probably in businesses or in other areas. And then you find that they are prospering. You see them, they're having vehicles, they are driving. And then for you, you are employed together and you don't have such kind of property. You are not driving. You are not having your own home. You're still renting. And somebody else, you're employed together and they're doing all this. That comparison. You're telling yourself, what did I do that I'm not like so and so? That comparison. I am comparing myself with Jane. I'm comparing myself with John, with Simon, with Agnes. I'm comparing myself. And that comparison leaves a lot of stress, a lot of pain in my life. I'm just using my example like that, but it causes a lot of pain. You might have been, like everybody is having this, is having the other, probably a phone that you cannot even afford with your salary. And then you are like, what do I need to do so that I can also be like so and so? I want to say here, you can never be any other person. You can only be you. So what do you need to do? Probably think about other passions that you have that probably can also, give you money instead of just sitting there and just, wallow in pity, self-pity, and just compare yourself, because comparison, and when it gets deep, it can really bring even depression because you can't afford. You hear people say, I went for holiday in this place, I went to this place, I took my family there, and you can't even afford to, transport for a month, because them, they have other sources. But for you, you're just seeing what they're having, like the faucets, the things that make you feel you have arrived in some way or other. But it's good to have property. I'm not saying it's bad to have property. But what about the other one who has not gotten there? Before they get there, they keep on struggling in so many things. There are those people that live beyond their means. They want to have this type of car, this type of house, this type of holiday, going to this place, but they can't, their means cannot allow them. So what do? They'll get into a lot of debts, a lot of promises that they make to people, a lot of loans. And I'm not saying loans are bad. Loans are good. If they are utilized properly, you can build yourself. You can create wealth if you have those kind of loans. But there are those people who just sometimes take loans to finance a holiday, and they don't have a fallback plan. They don't have anything else. So they are living beyond their means. They can't afford it. But because so and so else is, in that comparison, they can afford, you also want to be like so and so. In the Bible, we had the Israelites. The Israelites, this one time they wanted to have a king like the other people. So like God was talking to them and was like, I'm your king. I am the one who is, with you. I am enough for you. But they said, we want to have a king, to be like the other nations, the Philistines. We want to be like other people. That being like other people and not being you is living, sometimes lead you to live beyond your means. And when you live beyond your means, a lot of stress may come your way. Things like pandemic. We came from COVID-19, and a lot of businesses, a lot of restructuring at places of work went on. First, there was the time of the lockdown, and many people stayed at home. And unless the essential services that were going on, health facilities and some security areas and some essential services that were going on, most of the other things, most of the other workplaces, most of them were not operating. So at that point, people don't have money because there is restructuring in offices. There is a lot of changes. If it is a business, money is not coming in and all that. And we know how it was stressful. Masks all along, everywhere. You are just, grounded. And that brought a lot of stress in families because there's no food, there's no money for rent. I remember there was a place, my neighbors, they went to their landlord and they asked the landlord to allow them to be paying, first to reduce the rent and then to continue paying in installments, kidogo kidogo, so that they could afford, because they were not, the person was working in a hospital and they were not even getting money because there were not many people going to the hospital incidentally. But then, so that brought a lot of stress because now there were conflicts even in that family. They were fighting all the time. There's no food and all that. And that is another stressor that may not be really known, but it comes in there. Retrenchments, redundancy, stressors, and retirement. Sometimes, especially for retirement, somebody knows at this particular time I'll retire. But, because you just want to continue on and on and on, some people have even gone to lengths of like changing their dates of birth so that they can extend the time in the service and, the time that they are working, or even in the companies where they are working, the organizations where they are working, and their time to retire has come, but they are not ready. Some have, no relationships even with their families because sometimes they are working far from home and they are feeling that they are not ready to go back to the village, for example, if they have to go to the village. And retirement, retrenchments, like there are retrenchments that have happened in our country. I think there was a golden handshake, and then there was a retrenchment and a bit of restructuring in some companies and all that. So those are times when people get stressed, and you find that people are suffering in silence because nobody wants to say they are stressed. Sometimes people joke and say, I'm stressed. But in essence, that time they may not even be stressed. But the real stress is so silent. And that's why I said we are going to uncover the stressors at the workplace. Monotonous work at our workplaces can be very stressful. It's a routine work. There's no change. Every morning, you can even do your work when you're closing your eyes because you already know what is coming next. There's no thinking. You are not thinking about what is coming next. You are not utilizing your thinking capacity. You are not stretching your thoughts. You're not, thinking beyond what is their routine. It is routine. Wake up, write this, sign this, do this, go for lunch, come back, sign this, then sign the other, go home, and day to day, it becomes a stressor if you don't take care of yourself. Innovations. People are creative in places of work. You come up with an idea that blows the mind of your supervisor and brings the organization or the department to a level where everybody is seeing that you are shining. Then you are the one who came up with the idea, the creativity, the innovation. But then sometimes you share with a colleague, and then the colleague takes it up and goes and reports, this is what I think we need to do. It can work this way. And then you realize at the end of the day, the person is the one who has gone and said, we'll do this and that and that and that. So they didn't say it is you, it is Jane who said that, it is Joseph, it is Kamau, it is Josephine. They say it is me. So they go and present it as their idea. So who is praised? Who is recognized? Who is given a present? Who is promoted? Who is, given as a reference point for others to think? It is this other person. So the person who came up with the idea is left struggling and asking themselves, I can't go to say it is me who came up with that idea, because already everybody in the organization knows it is this other person. Is a stressor. Another area that I want to first close with the formal employment at this point is not taking leaves, not taking breaks, not taking breathers, and continue to work. And somebody said, work with no play makes John a dull boy. That is a saying that goes, but I think it is true. If you work, your body will say, I can't move any further. I can't go. I can't keep on putting in a lot in me. No, we need to stop. And then you find somebody is saying, I don't want to go to work today. I am feeling sick. I want a change of job. Why? Because you don't take a break. In the public sector and even in the private sector, there are always leave days that one is given in a year. Utilize them. Those are days for you to recuperate, for you to rejuvenate, for you to refresh, for you to gain more strength, for you to have fresh ideas, for you to, breathe fresh air and come rejuvenated. Come back to the office rejuvenated. There are people who don't take leave. They will stay there. They will work, and nobody is preventing them from doing that. But they feel that nothing else can go on without me. I am the pillar of this organization. I am the pillar of this place. Let me tell you, if you act today, nothing will stop. Work will continue. Somebody else will be given that work. If you die today out of depression and you it has gone so much that you cannot even perform at your place of work, you have depression, you have a mental health illness, you can't, because of just doing and overloading your body and your mind, then the day you die, nothing will stop. Some people will go for the burial. I'm saying this with a lot of love. They'll come for the burial, but the others will be left in the office going on with the work. So it is not you that, it's not the work that will stop. It is you that will stop working. And that is something that we need to think. It should be a wake-up call. We have time. We have leave days. You are not indispensable. You can be sacked. You can die. You can be transferred. But you feel that nothing else can move without me. Everything can move. without you. We'll look at a different and another category, and we'll go to the clergy so that we look at them. Do they get stressed? Somebody may ask that. Do they get stressed? Yes, the clergy. They are our pastors, they are our bishops, they are our deacons, they are our reverends, they are our different faiths that we have and different titles that we may give them. They want us to be able, the faith-based leaders that we have. They want the congregation, especially if now I'll talk about more on the Christian faith. They want us to grow in faith. For example, this is a new church. This is a new congregation. You want to create and to build these people as a pastor. You don't have finances to pay rent for the building. You have a family. You have the church building. You want to construct the church building. You have needs. You have financial needs in the church. And sometimes, and this happens a lot, when you're starting a new congregation and you have gone for a crusade, you have gone for open air preaching, sometimes you get children, and the children are very good. I've taught children for a long time. You have children. These children do not have money. They depend on their parents, and you're starting a church. And sometimes it can be frustrating. Some of these pastors will feel like even when they have a few congregants, like they are not giving. And sometimes the congregants may not have the money. The pastor may have the idea, this is what I want us to do. But the congregants, the members, are not moving at the same speed with the pastor. He gets very disappointed and sometimes very stressed. And one of the things is that for the clergy, for the pastors, I've served in churches, in different churches, and I know it can be stressful. And the pastor is not sometimes able to go and share some of these issues. And I understand, totally, I understand. Because sometimes you may not want to share with the members because they are like, if our pastor is sharing with us, then that means hata yeye anapitia whatever we are going through. Yes, it is true he is going through, but he can seek help elsewhere. Probably a reverend, probably a different person, or a therapist, something like that. But some of them, because of fear of talking about themselves, they get stressed. The other thing is they are brought a lot of cases, a lot of conflicts, marital conflicts, children refusing to go to school, sicknesses, and they are having counseling, they are talking to people, they are praying for them for long hours, they are in church for many hours, they study the word of God, they pray for them, and all these needs that come to the people, they stress this man of God or woman of God. When we go to the Bible, we look at Jethro, and he looked at Moses, and as I've mentioned, that Moses was taking care of the Israelites. We know that in the Bible, and he was judging and talking to the Israelites from morning to evening alone. This case ikimalizika anachukua ingine, hii case ikimalizika anachukua ingine, until the father-in-law Jethro came to him and told him, this cannot go on. You break down. You cannot be able to do everything. You cannot be able to judge the Israelites from morning to evening. Can you organize these people into groups of 500, 1,000, 250, and put a leader in them? as a supervisor, a leader in each of the groups, so that these people can be able to give this leader their issues, and then the different leaders can be able to come to Moses, and Moses will be able now to support and also get to know what is coming from the leaders. But if you are having a congregation of 4,000, 5,000, and you have to deal with each one of them, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't break, you can't walk, you have to sit there and judge them. Even your mental capacity cannot hold that. So, as the example with Jethro, the father, the son-in-law to Moses, you need to look at that and see how can you be able to space yourself out, even as a man of God, as a woman of God, so that you can serve people of God better. The other thing that affects the people of faith or the clergy is the losses that the members go through. Their deaths, they are going for the ceremonies, they are doing all that, they are doing so many things so that they can be able to support this congregation. And these barriers, these sicknesses that their members have, they also take a toll on them, as much as they may also be able, as much as they are also having their own issues. Sometimes the skills that the pastor has and the skills that the congregations have, sometimes there is a difference. The pastor may be sometimes lower, and I'm not saying that all of them are, but some of them may. And then you have their senior people in your church, and sometimes you're not able to get to where they are. Yes, you have the faith. Yes, you have the anointing and what God has given you, and the area of operation that God has given you. But as you listen to the members talk to you, you realize that they are not telling you that you are not doing well, but inside you are feeling that you are competing with them, and that competition can also bring a lot of stress in you. I talked about the formal employment, talked about the clergy, business, health, and the home front. I want to talk about the business environment as a workplace. As human beings, we have different skills, we have different strengths, and we have different ideas. And some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us are business women and business ladies and businessmen and business moguls. We have companies, we have businesses, and some are still having small businesses, small traders, and all that. One characteristic of stress is that in all those, there are different levels of stress depending on what you're doing. One is that stress cuts across. That is for sure. When you're in business, what are some of the stressors that bring us a lot of stress? Is starting wrong businesses. Why should I say wrong? Because you are starting a business because somebody else started a business that is doing well. So you think, even me, I can start that same business. I remember there was a time, some time back, and there was the crave and the business for quails. And almost everybody who was in business or who was starting business, they had a business for quails. Then quail eggs, and people are selling quail eggs. But because almost everybody, every farmer was keeping the quails, then who was the market? Where was the market? Because there must be a market, there must be the producer and also, the farmer, and also the market. So now it was loss. There were people even saying, oh, quail eggs heal this, quail eggs heal this. This is the health benefits of quails. But at the end of the day, people lost a lot of money. People who had started quail businesses, and I would imagine somebody who is watching me and started quail business can recall there was a craze for quails and quail eggs and quail business. And that means one started a business, some people, not all. Please, let's be clear on this. Not all, but some of those that started because it is doing well, and then quite a number of people went into that. And because they didn't have any skill, they didn't even have known what are some of the limitations and some of the things that disadvantages of starting that business, or even poor planning, or the finances that are required, the diseases that may affect the quails and all that. Because they were ill prepared and they went into a business because my friend, my neighbor is doing this, then they failed. So business failures. Sometimes people take huge loans. They take a lot of money as capital to start big, major, businesses. I have a friend who resigned from their job and was given quite a lump sum of money. And he decided he wanted to do business. He went outside the country, where in different countries where people, import clothes. And he bought expensive clothes, came back to Kenya with all his savings, with all what he had been given. He came back to Kenya and started selling. He would even give some away to his friends. Anawakopesha, utanilipa, take, utanilipa. And I'm telling you, he did nothing as a business. He failed. And remember, he had already lost his job. He was not working. He started drinking. He started being, just like whatever little that he was having, he would drink. He was having his children that were in school, and they were in very good schools, private schools. He was able to pay when he was working. He had a good job. But when now he left the job and started the business, that became such a stressor. Because he doesn't have the money, he can't go back to the job that he was working, he can't provide for the family. He was so stressed. And the little money now he was getting, to numb the pain, to numb the stress, he was drinking that. So businesses that are not performing, businesses that are started because somebody else is doing that, is doing the same business, then you think that you can also manage and you can also get it. You can also get money from it. Then you find that you're failing and you are actually hurting yourself. Again, is, getting into a business that you have no skills. You don't even know how it operates. And one thing that I have known is that there are so many places where you can learn financial prudence. You can learn how to, skills. You can equip yourself. You can empower yourself. There are many financial institutions that you can get into, and you can get financial advice before you start something, so that you can be able to have skills that will move you, forward. Businesses can be a source of stress because of the environment that you are having. You may see that so-and-so has started this business, probably a tiles business, a real estate business. They are selling shambas, they are buying land and selling. And then you also say, I will also do the same thing. You don't have the time to go and do due diligence for the shambas that you're buying, or the land that you're buying to sell, or you are not having the capacity to do it. And then your business fails and you start crying, you start, you have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, there is a lot of failure. And that failure also can translate to a lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of bitterness. Why did I start this? If you got an advice from somebody, you start hitting the person. You start, like you don't want even to meet them and walk, near them, or even talk to them, or even relate with them anymore. Interpersonal relationships become very, very poor. The other thing that happens is that sometimes when you start a business and you start with some people that you like, friends that you trust that they can do this, and then you find that they may not be as honest as you expected them to be, and then you find that there is money getting lost in the business. They have started their own businesses on the side without telling you, and then you find that the business is not thriving, and whatever capital that you had put in it just goes to the drain. The other one is starting businesses or going on with businesses that had failed, and then you're coming like to rescue them. Sometimes it may be a success, other times it may not work. And then it gives you, you say, they were doing very well, but when I've come to it, is the time it has failed. What is this? And you start hitting yourself. You have not even communicated with, if you're married, to your spouse or to your partner, you have not communicated. And then they are realizing that money is not coming home. If you are going to work before, you are not going to work in your business premises. Some people have even realized, spouses have come to know that there was no business going on way after it collapsed. Some even use lies, some even deceive you, some go and, get a lot of money from other people, and because they want to sustain this business that is not working. So those can also be a lot of stressors. Deal with all these issues. Let's look at something, the home front. The home front, sometimes we look at it in the families that there's no stress. There's the housewife or the spouse who is working from home, they're staying at home, and this person, it's nobody is seeing the work that they are doing. And when the person who is not in the house most of the time is probably doing another job, come out and ask, what have you been doing the whole day? What were you doing with yourself? I can't see anything that has been done. This has not been done. This has not been done. This has not been done. And day in, day out, you've made this food. It is not good. You have done this. Day in, day out, it becomes a stressor. And you're having children. You're having, to clean them. You have to do the house chores and everything else. And then you realize nobody is recognizing what you are doing. And it can be really a causing or a stressor to you as a person. The other thing is you have children in the family and they are not doing well in school. They are not performing. The child is stressed. The parent is stressed. You are pushing the child to limits that they cannot be able to do. You are pushing them to a level that they feel they are going to break. And for you, you want them to be like the children of so-and-so, performers. You want them to be doctors. You want them to be lawyers. And you don't want them to be entertainers. By the way, all these careers, they are good. And your child is saying, no, I want to be an artist. I want to play violin. I want to do a guitar. I want to be in media. I want to do in this. But for you, you are focused. You are stuck. I want them to do this and that. You get stressed and the child gets stressed. We'll look at how do we manage that later on. But that can be really a stressor. There is domestic violence in a family. Domestic violence is big. It can bring depression into the couple. It can also bring a lot of depression, and even some people will end their lives. They will go, they'll die by suicide. And that is caused by assault, domestic violence, rape, defilement, incest, and many other things that may happen in the family. Those traumas, those things that traumatize us, those things that distress us, those things that bring a lot of turmoil, a lot of conflicts in the families, can cause a lot of conflicts, bring a lot of stress in these families. And you find that a family that was functioning so well, they are separating. A family that was working so well from the outside, from the outsider, they are divorcing, and you are asking yourself, and sometimes some of them are even in the clergy, because this happens a lot these days. You find that even the clergy, they are human beings, and they are going through all the stressors. They are also in the families, and you find that they have divorced. And some of the things that are causing the divorce is probably lack of finance, or a lot of it that is being used elsewhere. And then you realize that at the same time, the person is not realizing that as you go along, these conflicts, this violence, this assault, this rape, this defilement, all these things are taking a toll on this individual, and this becomes an area of stress. On this category, I want to finish with the area of health. The people that are in the medical health, the medical sector, we have the doctors, we have the nurses, we have the surgeons, we have the medical students, all these, we have the insurance, we have all these people that are in the medical field, the medical sector. Some of them are stressed. What stresses them? Long hours of work. Sometimes there are surgeons, there are those consultants, there are physicians that they have a major operation, a major procedure that is taking hours and hours. Yes, they work in teams, but they may start for long hours, do a lot of those surgeries. Sometimes some of them have theater days. They do a lot of procedures for this kind of, the patients and us as the public. Sometimes they may be, you are having emergencies and you're called at night and you had not slept, you had not rested, you're called on another emergency. This health facility, this hospital, this other hospital, and they have long hours. They are stressed. Those are some of the stressors. And if one is not able to tell themselves, this is what I can do, and this is not what I cannot manage this one, it becomes such a stressor. The students in the medical field, like in most other areas, but for now I'm concentrating on the medical students. Sometimes they go and they are not able to perform at the level that they expected. Some of them get supplementaries. Some of them get discontinued. Some of them have really wanted to become a doctor, for example, but they are not able to do that. Why? Because the workload may be beyond this person's capacity. And not that necessarily the work is much, because those heavy courses have to be done, but at the same time, the person is not aware of their own strength, and when they feel that they are almost getting to the breaking point, that they can seek help. There are many other fields, like we can talk about our Air Force, our police, and they are involved with a lot of things, a lot of deaths, a lot of conflicts, a lot of robberies, a lot of road accidents, and all those become stressors to them. And again, if we are not careful, if we are not looking at ourselves, then it becomes an issue. It becomes a stressor. Work environment, whatever it is that we do, for those that are pilots, so for those that are in the Marines, for those that are all those people that we are working with, in the environment of work, whatever it is, we just need to pause and look at ourselves and listen. What I want us to say as I add the categories, the first 5 categories of the workplaces, is that listen to your body. What is your body telling you? When I come back, we look at what are the signs of stress. And we also look at how can we manage stress? How can we do better? How can we be able to look at ourselves and say, this far, I can't pass this. You can't go beyond this point. I need to retreat. I need to take care of my health. I need to take care of my life. And until next time, I want to say, let us learn what stresses us. An assignment that I would like to give us is that at your own time, just list the things, probably the ones we have talked about, and other things that you may, as an individual, because we are all different, what you may be going through. Just list them and see, just ask yourself, is there anything that stresses me at my workplace? What are these stressors? I may have mentioned them, I may not have, but list them. And then when we come back to looking at how to manage, we can also be able to address that. And if you have those stressors that you may need to share with us that I have not mentioned, you can go to our YouTube channel and just the comment section, Health Now Show on YouTube, and you can be able to, I'm also on Facebook, I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. We can be able to communicate, we can be able to share, we can be able to, you can talk to us. You can also WhatsApp 0114-404-200, and we can be able to, so that even when we come back to talking about how to manage it, how to manage stress at the workplace, we can be able to address your issues. And until next time, thank you very much. Keep it Health Now Show, your health friend. God bless you. Thank you.